Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of July 6th, 2024, and a date of marriage of 2005. She has a vanisher, and she's not sure of energy levels, and that is probably because he's a vanisher. She says, I wrote it before a few months ago, and I had some more questions. The recap is spouse and I had a small fight over him getting medical treatment, and he refused, and he left and never came back. He then told me in the text that he wanted to end our relationship. So basically kind of ghosted. Texted, and that was it. He had been struggling with stress, ED, and weight gain and other health issues. He won't talk to me. Basically, as I recall, he said, never talk to me again. But he filed for divorce. Yeah, that's it. As I said before, it's not usually this sudden like that. Okay, I'm devastated. There's no apparent alienator. The question is, can they have multiple stages showing at once? Do vanishers ever get out of escape and avoid, or do they remain stuck? I can't believe he just walked away like this. So, first thing, the vanishers can get out of escape and avoid. I mean, we have a vanisher type, and yet we still have the stages. It doesn't just end or continuously go on with an escape and avoid that is a endless void. But we don't see them as much. And so we don't have an idea of how that works and the map and the timeline. Remember, I say MLC lasts 3 to upwards of 10 years? Well, with a vanisher, we may not, if they truly vanish and you don't even see them, maybe you don't see them in 3 years and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You might not, maybe you don't ever see them again, or maybe you see them in 20 years. We don't have anyway, and maybe you don't have a grapevine. We might not know that they are in or out of their midlife crisis, or that they have just become a cranky old codger who is stuck. And so I don't even call it the crisis anymore. They're stuck in that new, undeveloped attitude of a moratorium of development, of not knowing who they are. And so they're just the cranky old guy on the street that we're always afraid, kids are afraid to go to on Halloween. So multiple stages, though. Can they have multiple stages show at once? I'm going to say yes and no. And here's what I mean by that. We're going to start with escape and avoid, and we'll go to liminality. Because we have separation and escape and avoid is a piece of that. And it is the biggest piece, the piece that you're going to really see and feel. After that is reintegration, after you go through liminality, which is where you kind of have the psychic breakdown, but also the blossoming and blooming of becoming the new person, and then a rebirth, becoming the new, which is the little piece and then you have to reintegrate them. Okay. But let's talk about escape and avoid to liminality. When you are approaching liminality, you're afraid of it. This is where you face the mirror. Maybe you look down this pit. I always imagine as a deep chasm, and you see the mirror, and like, I don't want to go down there, and you run back. So you saw something. That's a little bit of liminality. You dip a toe in to the liminal pool. Ooh, but then you're in back. Basically, and this is what either Jim Conway said or Heart's Blessing said it when she rewrote. I know she said it, but I don't know if he said it also. His Heart's Blessing said it very well. But the seeds of one are in the other. So you will see the seeds of liminality. And she called that depression, because that was Jim Conway stage 4 called depression. Jim Conway stage 3 called replay. You will see the seeds of depression in replay. As they are approaching one, as you transition from one stage to the next, there's a piece where, which one are they in? And maybe they're not fully in liminality. They're not fully out of replay. Not fully in liminality, not fully out of escape and avoid. They're still escaping. And who doesn't want to escape liminality, that place where you have to face all of your sins? They're not all sins, but you feel they are because you've just destroyed your family. You've left them. And there's something you're so ashamed of and so embarrassed about and feeling so guilty about, and you have to face all of that there. Even if it's not your fault, all the traumas, all these things that are your fears, fear of abandonment, things that happened to you in childhood, PTSD stuff in the military, all of those, the cacophony of traumas in your head is outsized. And liminality is when it comes out. You have to stop trying to stuff it in. It's been trying to come out through midlife, which is what caused this the bomb drop and all of that. But now it's more, you can't hold it in and stuff it and avoid it. Escape and avoid is what you do to avoid that. So you run, take drugs, you go limerent with somebody, because that's another type of, it causes hormonal surges, which are like drugs. But it doesn't work anymore. That stuff is going to come out, and it's going to be like a depression, which is why stage 4 is called depression. It matches Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of death and dying, or stages of grief. And so, yes, you will see pieces of one stage in the next. Now, given your bomb drop was, did I say August or July? It was July on here. And that was because the date of marriage was an August one. So I might have mixed those up. But July 6th, 2024, we're not a year in. So here's what I say. And maybe there were things that were happening before that. And if you could recognize big, heavy things that might have been bombs before that. But if this is your bomb drop, that is the start of escape and avoid. When the clock starts, we start time from then. Okay? That 3 to upwards of 7 years. This is times 0. Okay? And they aren't long enough to be really going out of escape and avoid yet. You can often see them cycling toward things that are liminal, or they take a break and they seem normal for 2 weeks. And with a vanisher, you might not have any of that feedback. So you might just be wondering, or you've heard somebody talk about, different phases and how, he seems depressed. A low energy wallower will seem depressed because they are. Remember that midlife crisis is depression. And with a low energy wallower, how do you know when they're in liminality? Because they already seemed depressed. And that stage was called depression, which is a reason I don't like the stage being called depression. You have a high energy replayer where their depression is masked, covert, hidden. But it's still a form of depression because they are trying to avoid depression. And then you have the standard depression, melancholy, sad, listless, apathetic, hopelessness, all of those things that we think are depression. It can be anger too, but even then it's still depressed. So if you're seeing depression, or if somebody is telling you about it through the grapevine, it could just be low energy wallower stuff too. Or they're cycling. And you can cycle into the state as you go because of the transition, or you could just be cycling. 2 weeks where, they're feeling depressed and they're thinking about it because they're gonna. But are they really that far along where it's really taking hold and liminality is really like this magnet pulling them in? They're close enough to it for it to have that magnetic attraction? Probably not yet. But we do see the stages at that point where they're close enough. They've traveled far enough in one, so they're close enough to the next one that they're blended a bit. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers the question. I can't tell you about him other than that timeline. He's escape and avoid. Okay. Sorry. But I hope that does answer it, and I hope that helps.